talking about the niche that you guys are into. The sanitation industry is not the first thing that people think of when they are talking about entrepreneurship, right? So, what advantages and challenges come with working in a niche space, which is, in a way, it is something unexplored as well, right?
Yeah, so the challenges with working within a niche space is, people say the riches are in the niches, but I think a lot of hardships are there too, because you're really trying to find that, one person, that one group, that one company that needs your asset. In our case, a restroom trailer, a shower trailer, a specialty trailer, bunk houses, things like that. So it is very niche.
I don't know if you have any plans for expansion, but in case if you want to target India, would be great market. Not sure if you guys have heard about Mahakumbh. Recently concluded one where we had about 500 million people visiting a place in the span of 30 days.
No joke.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. That's so many people in one area. Like, starting a business, it's apparently it's hard for everyone else, but I bet it won't be hard for me, right? And I think that's just a trap we all fall into. And especially when it comes to like, hey, we've had a good few years, so like why we'll just have a good forever, right? And that's something we really learned within business is you can do a really good job, you can do all of the perceivably, right things, and it still might not be the right thing for the application. Hey, let's do this one thing really well. Like we'll make this one right decision, right? And then the rest of everything will kind of like follow that one big right decision. And it's just not how it actually works. So we're usually a compilation of the last 1,000 decisions we made in the last day, right? Like we have so many decisions we have to make each day. And in the business, I mean, it just amps up. So you really have to focus on like, how do I make as many decisions in a row that are right and make them fast and make them good?
Talk to us about your success mantra.
I would say finding something that you are built to do. So we believe that we're built to work. And then within that, there's a lot of like, there's a million different types of jobs. You can work with your hands, you can work with your brain, you can work with your hands and your brain.
Working with the family is a recipe for disaster. So how do you guys navigate between disagreements as a married couple? So folks, you have tuned into TGV and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording, and we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak, and here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future, and we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host Navin Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. So folks, we are joined by Grant and Erin Stella, who are the dynamic husband and wife duo behind Stella Services, which is a premium restroom and shower trailer rental business. And also, they are leading Stella Leads, which is an online lead marketplace for the sanitation industry. And with years of experience navigating leadership, teamwork, and strategic growth, they have mastered the art of building a thriving business in a niche market while staying true to their core values. And Stella Services is a restroom and a shower trailer rental company that is setting a new standard for the industry. In fact, they provide a portable restroom shower service that includes air conditioning or heat, Bluetooth sound systems, and full-sized Korean countertops. And today we are going to have an interesting conversation about scaling success, leadership, growth, and also niche domination with Erin and Grant. And before we get into our conversation, here is an exciting twist as always. First, let us tickle the brains of our guests. Grant and Erin, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words, and I'm going to call you out, whoever has to answer.
Hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
Okay, so as and when I mention a word, just respond to whatever comes to your mind. The first thing without thinking much. If you're ready, let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, perfect. So first thing, first set of words will be to Grant. Grant, my first word to you is curiosity.
Curious George, the books.
Invention.
Restroom trailers.
And then entrepreneurship.
Oh, invigorating.
Life.
Fickle.
And the last one for you is future.
Exciting.
Wow, spot on responses. And with that, let's move to Erin. Universe.
Big.
Leadership.
Fun.
Success.
Success. Difficult.
Career.
Oh man, these are hard. Career, I would say ambitious.
Wow. And yes, the last one, aliens.
Unknown.
All right. And thank you both for participating in the first rapid fire round. And hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series. How are you doing today?
Doing well. We are sitting in a nice, sunny location for this podcast. So we're excited to be here and soak up the sun during the podcast.
Wonderful, wonderful. And it's such a pleasure to have both of you. And because we tend to showcase entrepreneurs like you so that our audience can also become powerful entrepreneurs in terms of dreaming big and chasing. And that's how we delve into topics of entrepreneurship, and especially the kind of segment or the industry that you guys are into, right? It is very, very niche. And maybe I would like to know more about it as we move forward. And before that, we'll start with some standard questions of the platform. So, Grant, who is your guiding voice?
Oh, that's a good question. Who's my guiding voice? Well, it's outside of Erin. I definitely, her and I go back and forth with all of our business ideas and business and work. So it's definitely a blessing to have a spouse that you enjoy working with. But I would say faith is our guiding voice. So our relationship with God, he's the one that sets that framework and that the ground rules for kind of what are we, why are we here, what's our purpose, what are we we're doing our business for a reason. So it kind of gives us the reason to why are we doing this. And it's really nice because business has its ups and downs. And so then when we have Jesus as our he's that thing that we're like, he's our standard. We're looking to him. And so then as we're making decisions about, do we grow? Do we move to a new location? Do we scale in this new industry? Do we want to do more blue collar stuff or move to online SaaS, web app stuff? We get to look at like, okay, we have flexibility. We can go and do this, but it's really about like how we do it, how our hearts are, how our relationships are with other people. And so it's obviously a passion point. And then, like I said earlier, I mean, Erin and I just really enjoy bouncing back and forth. It's super fun to have a buddy, have a best friend at work. So I definitely Erin. Now, Erin, you answering that, you can't take any of my answers.
Exactly. I was about to tell the same thing. So over to you, Erin.
Well, mine are the same. I'll just flip flop them. Yeah, I would definitely say Jesus is the guiding voice. That's kind of how we've set it up to have that personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and then that's kind of who we're in business with too. So I would say, yeah, personal relationship with Jesus, and then guiding voice. If I have to pick somebody else other than Grant, I would say we've really done an in-depth search for our leadership team. And so our guiding voice when it comes to Stella Services is definitely the people that we put in place and have really searched long and hard for because they're professionals. They are experts within their areas, and so we definitely listen to what they're saying and their thoughts and their opinions as our main guiding voice within the business.
Mhm. Wonderful. I'm glad you said that, because without employees, I think we are nothing, right? Without the team, team is the backbone, and if we take care of well of them, and they will take care of our business. Wonderful. And
100%.
Completely agree.
yeah, yeah. So Erin, now this question is to you, and then again we'll ask the same question to Grant as well, but this time you get the opportunity first. So can you talk to me about top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I think one of the main contributors is just having that solid foundation of deciding who you're going to be. Are you going to be a person who does business and life with integrity and character, or does that not matter to you? So, really defining those guiding principles has been a big point within my life. So that goes into a relationship with Jesus, right? And then second is really who you choose to marry. So that's one of the most I don't know if it's the top, but if it's not the top contributors to success, not just me personally, but across the board within surveys, that's such a big one. So who you marry really does determine your success level, your happiness level. And that's not to say, if you're not in that place right now with your spouse that, it didn't work. Just means like, hey, you've identified some areas that you may need to up level together in that area. And then the third thing that's really contributed to success so far is just being surrounded by the right people. Having a really strong friend and family base is so important. And with that, it's not always been perfect. And they would say the same, but really just having that base of people who really care about us and our success, and that we care about them and their success is just a huge bonus. And it's one of those, show me your friends, I'll show me your future, right? It holds true.
No, absolutely. Another amazing point. Like without right people around us, I think it gets difficult. And not just in case of happy times, but also somebody who can watch for us, who can support us. I think that's very important. And Grant, over to you. Talk to us about your success mantra.
Yeah, I totally agree with Erin. I mean, in that order too: faith, marriage, and then those top 5 people that are around you. I'm gonna keep going on that with 4, 5, and 6. With just top things for me after that order. I would say finding something that you are built to do. So we believe that we're built to work. And then within that, there's a lot of there's a million different types of jobs. You can work with your hands, you can work with your brain, you can work with your hands and your brain. You can do a lot of different things where your personality will either you'll thrive or where you'll suffer. So I think just understanding who you are, what do you dream about doing when you get, maybe when you're 50, 60, 70, where do you want to end up and what do you want to do with your days? And then try to do that as soon as possible. The next thing I would just say is financing. So understanding cash flow is the biggest thing that kills business. If you have poor cash flow, you're nodding like you agree. Any of us in business have experienced the times where it's just big ups and downs, and then when you're in the downs, making sure that you have access to capital so that you can survive. Those 30 days or those 45 days or 12 days, or making sure that you have the ability to get through that season. And Erin and I were talking about this the other day, but just having that backup to maybe 3, 4, 5 different backups in capital and access to cash, where ideally you're not using it. Maybe it's a line of credit, it's a loan, it's a family friend. Ideally you're gonna level up and continue to get better and better access to cash with lower interest rates, and you pre-set up that line of credit so you're ready to pull it, but it's not charging interest when you don't need it. So so after that, after understanding number 4 for us, understanding what you're built to do, and then financing, I would say business model. So with business model, just having that's something that Erin and I have been working on. It's been 11 years of working on our business model to have success within our niche. And we've had to go through some different things that were unique to our industry, our business, our location, geographical location. And we've had to vertically integrate and do a lot of, logistics work, do a lot of, hands-on stuff. And then geographically, we've had to be flexible because we're so niche. So just dialing in your business model to have something that's really successful within whatever you are good at, whatever you choose to do. And with that goes back to Erin's third point of just having the right advisors, having the right mentors, having the right people around you to be able people that have been there, done that. And so they can give you information and feedback. And it's like Erin and I were going through a rough time a couple of years ago. And we were talking to one of our mentors who had loaned us money. And we were like, hey, we're going through this really rough time. We're doing our best to make sure that your investment is safe and secure. And we just wanted to let you know that we are, this is, scary for us in the business. And he just said, oh yeah, I remember in 1980s when we were going through that. And then, in 1994, we were going through that same thing. And he'd been there, he'd done that. He'd been in business for 52 years and he's just been in cycles. So then when he saw that we were going through a tough time, he was able to have a reference point. He wasn't concerned at all. He trusted in us. And when in time that we didn't know if we could trust in us. And then he gave us advice of make a list of the top 50 things that you can cut and make it in order. And then just as things get worse, you can just go down that list and maybe, it's like cutting your Netflix subscription in your personal life if times get tight.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. In fact, when I was interviewing a person who is into the content creation world, and that person also was able to relate to my story because I started my journey about 4.5 years ago, and we are growing leaps and bounds in terms of expanding into multiple Indian languages and all. But initially, that particular growth.
Congratulations!
But yeah, thank you. And we get, if at all, we get an opportunity to interact with people who have already gone through that, who have done that, then our path will become easy, and that is what is resonating here. Wonderful. And Grant, this question again, it can be between you and Erin, whoever wants to answer, feel free to answer this. But I'm really curious to understand, how did this idea for Stella Services come about? And what made you to dive into such a niche industry, right? Because not many people really are keen into getting there. And first of all, they might get skeptical. Will it be a business model at all? Right. So I'm curious to understand, how did that idea come through?
Yeah, well, I can answer the first half and then Erin, you can take it over to second half of the business. But so starting it out 11 years ago, I was wrapping up college, and I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, and I was just looking for that business. I was looking for what do I do after college? I know I'm not built to have a job, and I'd been doing internships and understood that I wanted to own something. So I was just looking for that something. And one of the points I'd mentioned earlier of understanding, how did God make me? What am I built to do? One of the big things was I wanted to have a business that, well, number one, I wanted to have a business. Number two, wanted to have something that would set up family for success. So I knew that I had a strong desire to get married, and I didn't know Erin at that time, but get married to Erin. And then we want to have kids and raise family and do family and do lifestyle as a family unit in business together, and be able to travel and have experiences and do hard things as a unit and with family. So just looking for that. And I heard about this idea for a restroom trailer in the sanitation industry. And I just thought it was so cool because it was such a practical, foundational thing where people need to use the restroom. They need to have running water to be able to wash their hands. They need climate control in there when it's really hot or really cold. So I just heard about it from a friend and got a loan from my grandparents for $30,000. Entered a business plan competition a couple months later after starting the business and getting a few jobs, and ended up winning that and won $50,000. And that was just insane, mind blowing. And then able to grow a little bit, do $30,000 of revenue the first year, got a loan the next 1 year in after starting, and I was living at the office for a couple months, and then moved into a foreclosed house with some buddies, and just kind of like step one, then step two, then step three, got a little bit more sophisticated. And then Erin can shoot off of kind of where we are and where we've been the last few years.
Yeah, so interesting question, because in the last few years we've really had a lot of ups and downs, and it's been something that you never really expect, of course, to have happen, because you think, oh, starting a business, it's apparently it's hard for everyone else, but I bet it won't be hard for me, right? And I think that's just a trap we all fall into, and especially when it comes to like, hey, we've had a good few years, so like, why we'll just have a good forever, right? But things can really change. And I think we've learned that with the past few years. I think everyone's gone through a lot of ups and downs, personally, professionally. And it really does just go to show like how changing, how fickle, how almost even shallow, like some of this stuff can really be, because it can change on a dime. So you think you have certainty in one area, and nothing's for sure. And that's something we really learned within business, is you can do a really good job. You can do all of the perceivably, right things, and it still might not be the right thing for the application. So we've really learned the lesson of it's 1,000 golden BBs, not a cannonball. And I think oftentimes people really get into the thought process, I know I did, of what, hey, let's do this one thing really well. Like we'll make this one right decision, right? And then the rest of everything will kind of like follow that one big right decision. And it's just not how it actually works. So we're usually a compilation of the last 1,000 decisions we made in the last day, right? Like we have so many decisions we have to make each day. And in the business, I mean, it just amps up. So you really have to focus on like, how do I make as many decisions in a row that are right, and make them fast and make them good? So we really, I would say, deepened our mindset on that and grew leaps and bounds, and just knowing that like, hey, this isn't going to let up. We're just going to have to get better at making the best right decision in the moment over and over and over and over again to get there. So if anyone's listening to this and can relate to, hey, maybe they've had a past few years that have been more difficult, like you're not alone in that. And there are better days ahead if you keep making those right decisions over and over and over again. So that's kind of the past few years. And then where we are now is we have 3 different locations for our trailer business, 3 different states. We're in Denver, we're in Nebraska, and we are in Kansas. And that's been really fun. That of course brings up its own difficulties in itself. But we have those 3 physical locations, but we serve the nation in all aspects. So we've really like honed in on like, what does it mean to do hospitality well in a mobile service? What does it mean to provide bathrooms solutions to the best of our ability? So for us, that means like really focusing in on our team. Like you said at the very beginning, like if you focus on your team and how they're doing, that's just you can't go wrong there. So that's been a huge focus for us, and providing the right assets, trailers that are in great condition. So a little snapshot there of where we've been.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any plans for expansion, but in case if you want to target India, would be great market. Not sure if you guys have heard about Mahakumbh. Recently concluded one where we had about 500 million people visiting a place in the span of 30 days. Right, that would have been an excellent opportunity, and definitely not at that scale, but a little lower level. There are a few more events lined up in India. maybe you guys want to focus on, and we can discuss offline as well.
No joke.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. That's so many people in one area.
Exactly. All right. So moving on, like I'd like to again understand from you guys in terms of, was there a defining moment where you thought, yes, we have made it? Because I can relate to entrepreneurial journey. Like initial few years, we tend to get into a mode saying that, am I on the right path? And sometimes self-doubt creeps in and all. But again, on certain positive days, we think, okay, yes, we have made it. So talk to us about one defining moment where you thought, yes, we have made it.
Yeah. So hell, I think we kind of have the mentality, and it's one of our core values is humility. So within that, understanding accurately like who we are, what's our identity, what is success. And so I think understanding that we don't need to be worth um $1 billion
Yeah.
or $1 million, or have $10,000 in our bank account. It's not a certain number, it's not a certain thing, it's not like having two best friends, or like we're solid and secure in who we are, whether we have a business or not. But business wise, Aaron and I and the whole team have been working really hard the last few years, and we're in the best spot we've ever been with having a business model that we can serve our customers in the best way possible by using our 3 locations to we have a couple people per location to operationally get the restroom and shower trailers ready to go, make sure they're 100% working, all of the plumbing, all of the lights, everything's working, everything smells good, everything will last a long time. And we've become more efficient, more lean, reduced our overhead, while making it so that the people that are there have the tools that they need to be able to grow our top line and grow our bottom line. We leverage technology. We've been more geographically flexible, where we can go across the nation, but in a way that is sort of, we have business segments where one segment handles our local business, and then we have another business segment that handles our national business that's outside of our local footprint. And so we have those 2 different areas. And like you mentioned, the StellaLeads.com, we have the online marketplace where we can make sure that we have the leads that are outside of our local area that we can't take. We can also make sure that we help out the local sanitation companies in those areas. Maybe they're 5 hours away from one of our shops, and it's a smaller event. We can connect the person reaching out to those people as well. So those are some of the biggest things. Aaron, did I miss anything with that?
Nailed it.
Wonderful. And Erin, if you could go back to day one of Stella Services, what advice would you give yourself?
That's a tough question, because I think it's, you could really go into a deep hole on that one of like, man, I'd really sit myself down and here's a list of things that I could say. But I think it really, the overarching message I would want to give myself is that, like, you're not gonna get it perfect, and you're never going to.
Yeah.
And nobody on your team is gonna get it perfect, and they're never going to. And I think that would just be really helpful to just have that mindset of like, hey, I can plan for this. I can decide that I'm going to do my best personal job possible. I can level myself up as much as I possibly can. And it's still going to be hard, and it's not going to go according to plan. So I think for me, it would just be really, knowing that, like, hey, you can do as much as as much as you think that you can, and then add on 10% more. And sometimes you can't just hard work yourself out of tough situations, and it's just still going to be hard. But I love that question to just reflect for a minute on what that would look like. Because when I came into the business, we got married, and then I was full time in our business. And it was a very fun time, and it was a very difficult time too, because we were figuring out, where am I in the business? Grant and I are 50-50. So how do you come in from day one? And it's like, hey, team, you have now 2 owners, 2 leaders, 2 visionaries, 2, and they're trying to learn me, and I'm trying to learn them. And it's a decision that won't ever get reversed. It's like we're married and this is what is going to be happening. So really trying to come into that with the most amount of humility possible was my angle. And yeah, it's fun to think about that time. So yeah, I think just you can plan for it to go really well, and then just know that it's still going to be hard some days.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And again, this question is more about married couple working together, right? Many say working with a family is a recipe for disaster. So how do you guys navigate between disagreements as a married couple? Like, I think you'll not carry things home and vice versa, if I'm not wrong, or how does it work in real time?
I think we're always trying to figure that out. And it's always kind of learning and growing and evolving with that. I think you kind of go into it thinking like, hey, let's set the ground rules for this thing. And it's just like that now we have it set up and then that's that. But every single day is different. Every day you're working with two people who are different and who want to be on the same page. So I think that just really remaining open to the fact that like, hey, this might be like your rules of engagement or what's working for us, like for these 2 weeks or this season or this month or quarter or year. But just knowing that like that might need to be revamped tomorrow or and just really being open to coming together and thinking through like, hey, that worked for a while. And then what's like the next version of what could help us here? So I've heard of people doing different things. I've heard some people like they cross the threshold of their front door going home and they're like, no more business talk. And it gets just shifted, like turn it off. And then we're just like two people who are married. That doesn't really work for us. We're both wired to just kind of always be like churning and thinking about stuff. So it's very difficult for us to just like shut that off. And I think it's unique that we both have that. So, but there are, moments where it's like we're clearly brain fried and, I might be bringing something up and, it's 8:30 at night and Grant's going, hey, I'm brain fried. Can we get to this in the morning? No problem. Or, vice versa. And I think it's just having that open communication for us of like, would love to talk about it. I'm not going to give like a very good answer right now because I like can't even think, but I want to help think through this more at a later date. So I think for us, it's just been having that clear, open communication from the beginning and just knowing it's going to change in each season.
No.
Yeah, agreed. I think with that, like our things is understanding like what are the things that give us anxiety or what are the things that like make it so that we're it's like a really stressful thing that we don't like to think about, and then identifying that and letting the other person know, and then being able to like navigate around that. But there's certain things that we enjoy talking about too, so that like 8 p.m. conversation together, we can have conversations around like, I don't know, maybe what trailers we want to buy or a new location or a new strategy but then like talking about people stuff stresses me out and I don't want to talk about that at 9 p.m. right before we're going to bed, but then that'll change, like Erin said, it changes. So understanding kind of what those things are that week, just because it's going to change. And then I'd also say so back to your question of how do you have success as a married couple in business? I would say like everything that Erin said, and then also understanding like the moves you make in business today, especially the big moves, are going to determine your life in the future. So, and context is one of my Gallup strengths. It's one of my strengths. So I like thinking about this, but understanding and futuristic. So understanding like the things that you decide, the things that we buy or the products, the services that we go into, that's going to determine how Erin and I live life in 5 years. And so I think it's fun to evaluate like, okay, how do we tweak life to make it so that Erin and I enjoy this business even more, enjoy the people we're working with even more? How do we make it so they're enjoying their lives? And then we can strategically grow or shrink in areas that's like fun for us. Because for us, we love having a team that's like full of A players. Like we love working with high level people. And so with that, we want to make sure that we have a business that's not just economies of scale and the lower price point offering. Like we want to make sure that we have a service oriented business where people will pay to have an awesome product, an awesome service, an awesome experience. So then we can surround ourselves with people that are fantastic, because that's what the customers are demanding. And so that's something with context and futuristic, like understanding the decisions today, especially the big ones, determine what you're going to be doing 5 years, 10 years from now.
Yeah, got it. Now let's delve into the biggest strength you possess as business partners, and also one thing that you both struggle with.
I think the biggest thing that we kind of help each other with, or that we really align with as business partners, we're actually very similar. So I know people always say opposites attract, and there's truth to that. But for us, we're very similar in how we think about things, our approach to situations, which is really helpful for us on the day to day. We just, from there we know we have a lot of blind spots, right? Because we're not really like seeing the other piece of things. But that is helpful within our communication and the way that we're approaching things, or like we typically would naturally come to a very similar decision as the other person. So that's been really helpful. But yeah, curious, Grant, what would you think on that?
I think like Erin and I are built to own and lead companies. Like that's just how God made us. We're built to own and lead companies. We're built to start companies and think through the processes and the organizational development, thinking through the design and the makeup of the people, the structure, the business model, the financials, all those things that make a successful company. That's what we're built to do. And we're definitely level 3 out of 100. We're definitely learning. But it's something that's fun for us and that we like to talk about a lot of times. And weakness, I mean, we have so many weaknesses. Most of our things are weaknesses. So for that, we try to see like, okay, what do we need as a day to day with our business and what's important, and we can hire for it, or get contractors or vendors to help with that. But I would say like the day to day, Erin and I we don't want to have a lot of people interaction every day, because we're definitely introverts, and we do our best thinking kind of alone in a room, working on a big project that we're passionate about. So that's something that we have to really set up well, is like making sure our customers and our team feel loved and taken care of, while also making sure that we protect some time for us to be able to drive the business forward and do the things that we're good at. And I mean, you're just always going to have communication. You're always going to have interaction, and that's like, those are good things. But that's a weakness for us. And that's okay.
Yeah. No, it takes guts in terms of admitting the mistakes and exposing our vulnerabilities and all. But glad that you have shared with us, and talking about the niche that you guys are into. The sanitation industry is not the first thing that people think of when they are talking about entrepreneurship, right? So, what advantages and challenges come with working in a niche space, which is, in a way, it is something unexplored as well, right?
Yeah, so the challenges with working within a niche space is, people say the riches are in the niches, but I think a lot of hardships are there too, because you're really trying to find that, one person, that one group, that one company that needs your asset. In our case, a restroom trailer, a shower trailer, a specialty trailer, bunk houses, things like that. So it is very niche, because you're not just able to, like, let's say, you're not walking down the street and every single person needs a pair of shoes, or needs their nails done, or needs whatever it is. So we spend a lot of time making sure that we're talking to the right person. So I would say that's been then one of the challenges for sure in the niche space.
Okay.
Yeah, totally agree. Um, Aaron and I, enjoy marketing. So, under letting people know like what products do we have, what services do we have, who we are, and how we can be a fit for that ideal customer. So I think in being in a niche business, like you need to be able to put yourself out there so people can find you. So finding the right marketing channels, whether it's social media, Google search, whether it's AI search, um, maybe it's industry publications, cold email. Getting the channel that your customers are on, and putting yourself out there so that like you can be in a niche business, but then make sure that like those people that are looking for your product, you're when they're looking, you're everywhere. You're all the places. And of course, that's like operationally, you have to do a great job so that you have awesome reviews and you show up. But also, like Aaron and I are doing podcasts because it's a way for us to show that we are experts in our industry, and we're able to provide value for someone looking for a restroom trailer rental or a shower trailer rental when they're looking.
And if someone wanted to break into any unconventional industry, so what is the one piece of advice you would give to them?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of trusted advisors around you. Make sure you do a lot of research going into it. Just reaching out to people who have been there and done that, and making sure that you have like a trusted resource, a trusted bench of people you can just call and say like, "Hey, I'm going through this. What do you think?" Or "I'm about to make this decision. Just help me walk through it."
Okay,
Yeah,
Grant, anything from
agreed.
your side? Yeah.
Industry trade shows. We're at a trade show right now. Um, yeah, the bench of advisors, people within that industry, like go hang out in that industry and go hang out where those people are hanging out, learn about it, understand the ups and downs. There's Facebook groups that are in our industry that show kind of like what are the questions people ask. They talk about, hey, I'm looking to start up a business in this location. And then people comment and say like, okay, it seems like it's really saturated in that area, and it's been really hard for me. I started 3 years ago, and so you can kind of get a taste like, oh, there's lots of opportunity, or it's really hard, or just surround yourself with the people that are already in that industry.
Yeah. No, I love it. In fact, attending the trade shows, and especially that kind of environment will give you a lot of visibility and exposure. Wonderful. So that's such a powerful one. And my next one is around the intentional growth that you guys talk about, right?
Mm.
So what does it actually mean to you, and how has it shaped your decision-making process?
So the intentional growth within the decision-making process, I think it's just making sure that, hey, are you leveling up as a leader in your team? You have to choose growth, which is very interesting, right? A lot of people think that, you can just go through your day-to-day and that's going to get you where you need to go. You have to choose it. You have to put yourself in those situations. You have to surround yourself with people and opportunities that are going to lead you towards the path that you want to go. And so, that growth piece is vital to a successful team, company, and industry. So that's just what we've seen, and just trying to make those decisions over and over again. Like we will be growth oriented, and we will put ourselves in those positions.
Yeah, but totally agree. Aaron and I's our purpose statement for our marriage is impact and inspire vibrant living by design. So that last part, living by design, is intentional in its nature, and we're growth oriented for sure. So that really summarizes like, how do you grow intentionally? It's by design, it's by intention, it's by like what we talked about earlier with understanding the context of who are you, what are you built to do, where do you want to go, and then making decisions now that push you forward. As far as growth goes, I know it's a fear. There's a lot of like risks and but that kind of goes to like making sure that you have the relationship with your spouse that that you communicate around, like, you de-risk the deal. You de-risk the thing that you should go forward and do. And most 99 things you're going to say no to, and then that one thing you're going to say yes to. And so that one yes, like, yeah, it's risky, but man, Erin and I have thought about it. We've talked about it. We've talked to advisors. So we're willing to go forward and make that decision. And it's like, obviously, yes. And if it goes haywire, that's okay. That's our identity isn't in that success, but you're typically going to be successful if you understand where you want to go. How does that relate to now? Who are you? Where's your identity? It just sort of de-risks the deal.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And this has been an incredible conversation, and I thoroughly I'm enjoying talking about your entrepreneurial journey. And it's time for us to add some more spice and excitement to the episode, which means we are here to take the second rapid fire round. So if you're ready, let's kick off.
Let's go.
Okay. So what we'll do is I'm going to ask the same question to both of you. And first, maybe Erin can answer and then Grant. Okay. So my first question is, if you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
I would say, I think 5-star comfort anywhere you go.
Wow.
Oh man, I was going personal. Man, I going off of the last thing we were talking about, intentional growth. So just inspiring intentional growth is a passion point for us.
Yeah, good one.
Love it.
This time, Grant, you can go first. Okay, so describe yourself in just one word.
Passionate.
Erin.
I would say driven.
Driven. Wow. Passionately driven couple.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And this time, Erin, you'll go first. If you had to swap businesses for a month with someone in a completely different industry, what would it be?
I grew up ranching, so I think it would be fun to swap back to ranching for a month and experience that together.
Good one, Grant.
Chip and Joanna Games. We their whole empire of fixer-upper homes. They run a network. They have a hospitality. They have houses, apartments. They flip. So it'd be fun to flip into someone that's built in an empire of stuff. So just to learn those
good answer.
idiosyncrasies about the whole business.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And this one, either of you can answer. What is the weirdest or funniest thing that has happened during a restroom or shower rental?
Oh man, we both have some pretty interesting stories on this one. I'll say mine. I was so we deal with waste, human waste, as within restroom trailers. And so I had gone on a job where you empty the waste tank into another tank that's on your truck. And so then you're able to transport the truck and the trailer together once you've transferred the waste from the trailer into the truck. So I had done that, and then you have to empty the waste tank that's on the truck at a city site. So I was there, and I had everything hooked up correctly, or so I thought, to transfer all of the waste from the truck out. And I thought I had it connected. I did not. I thought I had a lever that was starting to leak. And so I hit that lever to what I thought was going to be completely off, which is what I wanted. And I hit it the wrong direction, and it just came out. And I was not very happy. And I quickly shut off the lever, and thankfully there was a hydrant right there, and I started washing up. But my goodness, I was a little bit frustrated that day that I had hit that the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's so I mean, like Erin said, we're providing value by moving people's waste. So that's one of the things we do. Starting one of the first couple years we were doing a county fair, and it was like 4 a.m. in the morning, and we had some units inside of the big fair building, and the door was like 8 foot 1 inch wide, and our truck was 8 foot wide, so there was like hardly any room on either side.
Yeah.
And it hangs over the back wheels like 8 feet. And so I turned coming out of the doors, and I clipped the waste valve, what Aaron was talking about, and I cracked it, and it just like started gushing waste, like tons of waste all over the ground. And it was all paved. It was on a pavement lot. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, this was the first year I got this job. They're going to be so mad at me for having this waste coming out. What do I do? And so I like quickly, our shop was within a few miles. So I was able to like quickly go to our shop, park on a ramp, make sure like the waste was in the front half. Oh, and I needed to finish pumping the job. So I needed to like finish it. So I had to go back there and do it because all the toilets were full. And so I went and we quickly, like, we found a big 4-inch valve. It's like that big. We found it. We took this huge wrench that's like 5 feet long, undid the valve, put a new one on, went back, pumped everything out, made sure that ground was all cleaned up, and no one ever knew because we cleaned it up so well. So it worked out.
Oh, wow. But I can imagine the situation. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And here comes my next one. If you could describe your business journey in a movie title, what would it be?
This isn't very like funny or pithy or anything, but maybe like Built to Serve or The Road to Hospitality or something along those lines.
Yeah, good one. Grant.
I would say like Married and Out of the Box. It's like out of the box thinking while doing it together.
Great. And if you could hire any historical figure as your business consultant, who would it be and why?
I don't know if he's historical yet or not, because he passed away not that long ago, but Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A. I really appreciate his wisdom and foundation and his core values. And then obviously the business that he created is thriving and just spreading across the world now. So I would definitely say Truett Cathy.
I'd say David Green with Hobby Lobby. Two high level people that have just done business so well, provided a lot of value. Faith is their foundation. They're dealing with billions of dollars of revenue, doing a great job.
Good one. And what is one thing about the sanitation industry that would surprise people?
This is going against the stories that we just told everyone, but it's not as dirty as you think. You have to be willing to sign up for a dirty job, but you think, you instantly, when you're thinking sanitation, like, oh, I'm going to be like covered in nasty waste or filth every single day. And that's just not the case. There's a lot of tools in place to, if you operate them correctly, to have that not happen. So it's not as dirty as you would think.
Wow. Good one. Grant?
I'd say the community. Just we work together with other vendors across the United States that's in the industry really well. We sublet to them. We rent them trailers. They rent trailers from us. So I'd say that's probably a surprising thing. We're friendly competitors, but even more so, just friendly.
Great. And here comes the last one for the second rapid fire round. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
Oh, it's either something that keeps my house clean all the time or does my laundry, or both.
Yeah. I would say along those lines, something that like a robot that cleans really well, like cleans our bathroom trailers really well. They can go into sites and just keep things spotless. I think that'd be really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that is going to save a lot of time. And after that amazing second rapid fire, let's flip back to the mainstream. And again, you can answer in any order you wish. And this is another common question, like, what is a common mistake entrepreneurs make when scaling a business, and how can they avoid it?
I would say they misunderstand the industry. They misunderstand the ROI, the how they go about bringing revenue, their cash flow. So the biggest thing I would say is misunderstanding the cash flow timeline and not really knowing what the balance sheet is versus the profit and loss versus the cash flow statement versus like net, be underneath the bottom line of the profit and loss. There's a net income, but then like that doesn't necessarily reflect the cash that's in the bank account. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs go their whole life without really understanding that. So really understanding from like a strategic advisor, a strategic accountant, or just why is my money in my bank account different than what shows up in my profit and loss?
Yeah, I would say just outpacing overhead to actually the money that's coming in. So it's really fun and easy to say like, let's buy this, let's do that, let's add this on, and then without fully understanding the implications of like, okay, we're going to spend more. What are we going to get in return from that? That directly helps us. It doesn't just drag us down with what we have to pay out like consistently. So that's the first thing that came to mind for me.
Excellent. Great advice, and I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you both. And in fact, it's a value-added set of nuggets to our audience. And how is your experience being hosted on the Guiding Voice platform?
Loved
Loved
it.
it.
Yeah, we've been enjoying this time together. It's fun to think through these questions and really think through the past few years too, and where we're at, where we want to go. So this is a helpful conversation even for us. So I appreciate your time on this too.
Yeah, and your preparation. You did a great job, so I really appreciate that.
Thank you. And most of our guests say that we make them nostalgic by helping them get back to their memory lanes and try to dig out what went well, what could have been different, and also it is all about reminiscing those memories and while adding value to the audience. So it was such a pleasure talking to you both, and looking forward to hosting you again in the future. Okay.
Yeah.
So
What?
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right. So, friends, that was our episode with Erin and Grant Stella. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. If you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues or fellow entrepreneurs who would also like our show. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you have been growing for the past few years. All right, now it's time for us to jump into the trivia segment of today's episode. Having had amazing conversation with entrepreneurs from a niche industry, I thought I would present you few fun and bizarre facts about portable restrooms. The first fact is there is a portable toilet racing championship. And yes, you heard it right. Some places like Virginia hold annual portable toilet races where teams modify porta potties with wheels and race them down the street. And it is part of local festivals and a hilarious crowd favorite as well. And the second is the longest line for a portable toilet was over 1,000 people. At the Glastonbury Festival in UK, known for its mud and massive crowds, over 1,000 people were once recorded waiting in a line for a portable restroom. And festival organizers since then have added thousands of extra units to prevent this nightmare scenario. And third one is some VIP porta potties cost more than a luxury hotel suites. High-end luxury restroom trailers come with chandeliers and also marble sinks, climate control, and even televisions. And some VIP units at elite event cost thousands of dollars per day to rent, turning a basic necessary into a lavish experience. And the bonus fact is the term porta potty is actually trademarked by a specific company. So technically, not all portable toilets should be called that. And that is it from my side for today's episode. So, folks, thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So, until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the best is yet to come. So, goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.